All right, guys. So take a minute to read this here and pause if you want. But Duck Hunt 2.0 did some great commenting in this video I did talking about how it really is difficult or impossible to be racist against white people. And as you can see here, this other user, this is the most recent comment the user had in there, and I'll explain some more here in a minute. So, like I said, the video was a while back now. I mean, not too old, but not too new. And in talking about issues with racism, bigotry, things like that, there were so many people that came into comments that were defending racism. There were excuses that you guys wouldn't believe if you haven't heard this before. I've heard this many times throughout my life, that it's okay for white people to be racist, essentially because they were slaves first, because the Irish were slaves first. I've heard that excuse. It's the vocal opposition to this that's really disturbing. The supporting of racism because it's just so commonplace. They're not even hiding it anymore. Anyway, I'm not going to stitch that guy because I'm not going to try to get in an argument with it. What I want you guys to understand, for those of you that follow me, for maybe you're seeing this for the first time, whatever it is, the reason that I don't engage those people is because there's no change in their mind. If you go look at that comment, what he's saying, basically somebody's providing to him, hey, here are these things you can go look at to understand this issue better. And the response is essentially, nah, don't think I'm gonna, don't care, it's fake, they don't care. And I know that this may seem difficult for some, but the reality is that with people with that mindset that are not going to educate themselves, change, or see any difference, I just don't see a way that we fix this country or that things get better in terms of race without another civil war. I don't see how it's possible. When people are that staunchly ignorant, or they just think that's right, or they support that, I don't see how this changes through any peaceable manner. I just don't. I don't see how we fix this, because the climate of the country is getting worse. While I love people on the left that are trying to do good, the problem is you guys don't show up to vote. Too many of you don't show up to vote in the midterms or in the lighter elections. In the city I'm in, our school board for where my son goes to school is now stacked so badly. The board members that are trying to ban books and get rid of trans and gay people in the schools, those people have now been reelected because the people who could make a difference just didn't show up to vote. I mean, when your voting numbers are as low as 33% of the entire area, and we're not even talking like a state election, this was just for a local area, it really is abysmal. And I just don't see how we fix this. The propaganda used to get these people who are ignorant of things to vote is very effective. There's an ordinance, or not, there was a proposition in my area, it's not an ordinance, a proposition in my area that would have affected spending, and there was some really, really aggressive campaigning done for it that was inaccurate, shown to be inaccurate, but there is just a large number of people who actually show up to vote that are Republican, right-leaning, that they show up and they don't even have to oppose much. Like, if everybody on the left would just show up and vote besides the presidential election, we'd be in a better situation partially. I still don't think it's going to end the race issues. I just don't. Again, I don't see how we're going to do that without some kind of civil war. It's getting to a boiling over point, but I just don't know. But it is appalling. I'm not surprised anymore, but it is appalling to see so many people defend racism as somehow it's like a tradition in this country. I mean, technically it is, which is sad in itself, but to defend it on that basis, or to defend it because, well, they're racist to me too. And I just get so tired of the excuses. I had to delete a number of comments too. And I'm going to reiterate this at not the beginning, but every video when I'm covering race, those kind of things. If you're white and you're leaving negative comments, I'm going to delete the comments. It just, like, the filtering I have set up is very specific. It caught a number of comments. I blocked a few people. But I'm just not going to put up with it. I'm not going to, remove the video. Like I said before, I've done online streaming, which is far worse in my opinion than TikTok can be, because you have to do with live people. So people casually leaving comments. Yeah, I don't care. I want it out there. I want comments out there. My commentary, I should say, out there. And I just, yeah, if you are, still supporting racism in this day and age, you're part of the problem. There's no other way about that. If you refuse to educate yourself, you're a part of the problem. So, anyway, before this gets too long, guys, I appreciate everybody who jumped into the comments there. And again, I just want to say to those people, I didn't respond to those particular people, not because I felt it was your job or I just didn't care. It's just engaging with them doesn't change their mind, and they just do it to upset you. They're not going to change their mind at all. And you're not going to. I learned this in my 20s. You're not going to change people's minds. You're not. Unless somebody's already open to a different idea, you're not changing anything. They're going to continue being the way they are. So engaging with these people doesn't really do anything besides have them there. And as a last note, anybody that does comment on my videos, a lot of you are brave enough to use a public profile. Those of you that are supporting racism, don't worry. I'll archive those comments and I'll have screenshots. So when something comes up, because eventually it does with you people, I'll have receipts for your speech so it can be used against you. That's what's great about this platform. You're allowed to have your freedom of speech. You don't have freedom from it. So enjoy.